Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's real estate authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you cannot listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search for it. Look for Barb on all of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, etc. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of people's largest assets, their home. Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, I am excited about today's show because we're going to be covering some things that I think a lot of people are wondering. When I looked over the market stats this morning, I was seeing a huge surge in the number of available homes online. So, what does that really mean? It means that homes are not getting absorbed by the market. Buyers aren't really making offers unless the price is lowered. So I think that right now buyers are looking for bargains. So it's going to be fun to kind of deep dive into the market stats. And then the next topic is to help people that are having trouble selling their homes. And we're going to go over some things that you should do if your house is not selling. There are some good strategies. I pretty much every seller wants the most money. That's just how it is. They're like, well, we want this much. And I'm like, I would love to get you even more than that, but that's not the way you do it if you overprice a home. And then the third topic is going to be about how to get multiple offers on your home, regardless of the market conditions. We can help you. We show up at every appointment with a handful of cash offers, but there's a way to get multiple offers from live in your home buyers as well. And the last topic is just I cover this every once in a while, really about agent knowledge and the assumptions that take place within the consuming community about how deep does my agent's knowledge actually go when it comes to handling one of your largest assets. So the topic is named, how does a seller know if a buyer's agent is working towards getting to the finish line on the sale or not? Many times they'll ask me, so they want me to pay them 3% to have this bring this buyer to me, but the question is, what are they going to do for it? So we get that question all the time. And there's more and more and more resistance on the seller's part to actually pay the buyer's agent commission or a big number that they're asking for, especially if their offers come in low. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, we're heading into this spring selling season, and the Fed seems uncertain about lowering interest rates while the demand is lower than last year. So, Barb Schlinker, what do you think will happen to the real estate market in the coming months?
Well, this is the prime selling season right now, Richard, as we start into the month of May, June, July, August. This is prime time year after year. That's when most people are moving. That's when most people are selling. And that's really when you can probably command top dollar for your home if the home is presented right and priced right. And you can't really rely, I get surprised to read that over 80% of the buyers are sitting on the sidelines, just hoping for those interest rates to drop down to 3% or hoping for the house prices to drop like an elevator. And it's just not happening. This market is holding its own. I actually read a Wall Street Journal article this morning that looked at how much negotiating is going on market by market. And they didn't have Colorado Springs, but they had Denver, and it was very little, if any. So, what does that tell me? There still is some pent up demand all along the Front Range, but if you overreach the mark, the buyers are going to tell you right away. Interest rates are a factor. because buyers mostly are buying homes based on the house payment that they can afford. Very few times do you get buyers that come in and just, write a check and pay cash. It just doesn't happen as often, maybe 10% of the time. A majority of the time, we're getting people that need a loan. So, what factors into their decision about what home they're going to buy is what would the house payment be at the current interest rates. And what we're seeing right now is that the rates they're just kind of waving between, for a 30-year conventional, between 6.75 and 6.9. Sometimes it peaks up over 7 and then back down. It's really steady as you go for the last couple of months. And so they've been very stable. And I don't think the buyers should wait. That's just my opinion, because I believe that if we see the rates drop down where you have a 5 in front of it, the buyers are going to come out of the woodwork. But they should understand that you could buy a home right now at the current rates and be able to easily and at low cost refinance that home down the road when the rates, or if the rates do drop. And so I think that would be probably the best decision, because if we see the rates drop down into the 5, and if it's true that 80% of the buyers are sitting on the sidelines, they're going to come out in droves, which will have the impact of driving the prices back up. And the other thing that's going on as well is there's a lot of people sitting on very low interest rates. If they didn't need to move in the last couple of years, and if they refinanced or purchased when the rates were down at 2.5%, 3%, any one of those amazing numbers, a lot of people are thinking twice about moving because their cost of being able to purchase their next home, unless they're paying cash, is going to be higher. And it's interesting, in different parts of the country, places like Florida, whew, the prices are dropping significantly, but it's not happening here. So, when you put your house on the market, you really want to be the best home, the best price, presented in the best way. That is the way to get top dollar on your home, because I believe the buyers are actually very well educated in their criteria of what they're looking for in the general price range. They know what is a good deal and what's not a good deal. And if they don't like the numbers, if they don't like the condition of the home, they're just going to pass it by and not even go and take a look at it. And so, what some of the experts are saying is basically the rates are probably going to stay the same, at least through the first 3 quarters of the year. And if it does drop, like I said before, we're going to see those prices go back up. And just looking kind of more in the narrow version at certain counties around the area, El Paso County, we're seeing the median list price be relatively flat in the last week or so. But the big key is a surge in the amount of people that are decreasing their price. At the same time, there's a surge in the number of available homes. So what most people do is they take a look at, okay, these homes have sold, they're similar to mine, I must be able to get that much money, therefore I'm going to price there. And then they put their house on the market and they get crickets. So you're always better off being priced realistically in this market right now. Very similar kind of statistics for Douglas County. We're seeing prices tick up just a little bit. Inventory is going up though, and even more people, 41%, are decreasing their price because whatever they started with didn't work. Teller County has been relatively flat in terms of asking price. However, the inventory is rising. The days on market relatively flat. And again, almost 40% of home sellers, they start with one price. That's almost half. And then they go, oh, it's not working. I better lower the price to catch a buyer. Pueblo has a little bit of a different story, and I think part of it is because the prices are more affordable there. So we're seeing an increase in the median asking price, a very slow drop in the average days on market down to 116. And but there are more people decreasing their price by about 46%. So I think one of the things that people should keep in mind is if you look back during the boom between 2020 through 2022, prices just blew up. Actually, it went back further than that. Probably since 2018, we saw the average home price go up by almost 50%. Now we've corrected back a little bit since then, but so what, why did that happen? It happened because the cost of money was so much lower. You could get a mortgage for 2.5%, 3%. It was actually cheaper to buy a home versus rent a home for many home buyers. And that was all, it all had to do with government intervention. And now not so much of that is going on. And we've seen the rates more than double. And now the buyers can't afford the payment. So there's been a lot of equity that's built up. And that's very unusual for this market. I've been doing this since the 90s. And, on balance, what I've seen year over year is that the prices in a normal market without all the government craziness go on, typically go up maybe 3 to 5% a year, not a huge surge. So I believe in the future, the things are going to get better. That's just my spidey sense, but I'm very optimistic. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about what causes prices to drop in Colorado. When we come back, we're going to briefly cover what home sellers should expect to see over the summer and what they need to do next in this market condition. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the Fed's recent increase on the Fed borrowing rate and whether or not it has an effect on the housing market. So, what should home sellers expect and do in this market situation?
Well, in most cases, a bidding war scenario, even though it's a lot of fun when that happens, is not very common. The home has to, all the stars have to align. It has to be a high demand type home. It has to be positioned right. It has to be priced right for that to happen. So preparation and planning is key. And a lot of buyers really will pass on a home that needs work. We see that all across the spectrum with our listings that if it's not brand new, fresh, and modern, the buyers are kind of rejecting those homes and trying to find something else. And what the buyers do is most of them are eliminating homes based on what they see online. So, unlike back before the pictures got really good, where a buyer would physically go inside and take a look at as much as 40 homes, now they're only looking at one or two. One of my colleagues called it online dating, basically. You only have a few seconds to make an impression and then you're moving on. So I think the best scenario for a home seller is to make sure that your home is not passed by and hire the right team that can help you position the home to get top dollar. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We have over 28,200 buyers just on our little website looking for homes. Plus, we can market to all of Zillow's buyers with our premier marketing that we do, and we'll be able to get you top dollar. Just call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719-301-3900 or go ahead and visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what should you do if your Colorado home is not selling. Barb will give you the answers.